Winback Farm of Ontario is home to 7 outstanding pacers, including Better Than Cheddar, a proven sire of Ontario Sire Stakes Gold winners. 3 rich performers stand their second season in 2021, including O'Brien Award winner Jimmy Freight, Horse of the Year McWicked, and O'Brien Award winner Stag Party. Also standing, Millionaires Art Spink, Better's Delight, and Shadow Play. For more information, it's winbackfarm.com.
Welcome to Twos in Training. I'm Jaimi MacDonald, and tonight we're talking to someone who's won over 6,700 races, 60 million in purse earnings, and was just inducted into the Ohio Harness Racing Hall of Fame. Virgil Morgan Jr. knows his way to the winner's circle, and tonight we're going to learn how he's made himself into a household name on the Ohio Sire Stakes program. All sponsored by Winback Farms of Ontario. Welcome, everyone. And Virgil, thank you for joining us here this evening.
Thank you for having me.
And before we get into, of course, the twos in training of why we're here, can you just tell us, how is your training going this year? How many horses do you have in your barn, and how many 2-year-olds altogether?
So there's about 60 total. I've got 23 2-year-olds, 14 3-year-olds. Racehorses I've had in the past. That wasn't by design. And we'll probably gear up a little bit more for that when Scioto opens the first week of May, and try to have a full boat of claiming classes. I like to try to have every claiming class filled, and of course try to have every condition filled too.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we get busier in the racing season, right, the barn gets busier. And speaking of, how busy everyone's been, let's take a look at your career. You've had an amazing career so far, and still doing great things with over 6,700 wins. Looking at those stats there, over 60 million in purse earnings. How does that make you feel, looking at those numbers kind of all totaled together?
I've never really been a stat guy. Really looked at it that much. Actually, until the Hall of Fame, I looking at those now, some of them are foreign to me. I think just because I've got a lot more I want to do. I'd like to go another 20 years pretty hard, and so we'll look at the numbers, when it's all said and done. I think, like I said, I still have a lot that I want to try to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to look at it too. Kind of, here's where I am, but this is where I want to be, right? In the future down the road. And speaking of the Hall of Fame, congratulations on your induction this past year into the Ohio Harness Racing Hall of Fame. What was that like for you to kind of get the opportunity to be, inducted into the Hall of Fame?
That was awesome. Just for an Ohio trainer. That's the elite. That was just something that speechless on it. It's just something that is with the people that are in the Hall of Fame is just awesome. Is it just elated, to say the least.
Has there been anyone in your career that's been influential for you, that kind of drove you in the right direction, maybe when you were younger and starting off, and then kind of put you on the right path to where you are and where you're going to be?
Definitely my dad and my mom. Just the work ethic that I saw them. They weren't in the business, but just the way they raised me, and my dad, he's the one who introduced me and my uncle into the harness racing, and I think, just the work ethic, stay at it. This business, or any business for that, successful wins a grind, and, don't give up. There's plenty of obstacles along the way, roadblocks, but, just keep digging, and keep working hard. And I think my dad, so many people have helped me along the way. It would be an insult just to list, one or two, but definitely my dad.
For sure. And parents have a great influence on what their kids do. And you've got a couple kids at home who are very interested in the horses. Can you tell us about them and kind of where their interests lay right now?
Yeah, so my daughter, she works for me. She's definitely a huge asset for me. She's a second trainer for me, helps me train everything. She drove the last 2 years a little bit at the fairs and some amateur races and actually did quite well. I was very proud of her. She handles the horse good. She's just learned so much in the past 3 years. My son, he trains with me as well, and has a couple other businesses that he does. He still goes to school, college, and he's an owner. He's definitely an entrepreneur that way. He's looking to claim something or buy something, as she is too, and really proud of their work ethic and what they've learned in a short period of time. They were both. My daughter was an equestrian rider from the time she was 5 until she was like 9, and my son played sports, baseball, football, and basketball. They would come to the races, but the barn didn't know a lot, until they got into their late teens, and they've got the bug now, and it's in their blood, and they do a great job. They're a huge asset to me right now.
It's definitely something that is in your system when you're born into it, and no matter how far you go, a home is where the horses are and the family are in the barn. And there's something special about walking outside the house to your horses that are right in the backyard, and it's something very special to be able to grow up with.
Yeah, it is for sure, for sure.
Speaking of some of the horses, is there any that kind of come to mind that have really, out of all of the great horses that you've trained, whether they were a top class or kind of a bottom class, but hold a special place in your heart?
Yeah, I can think of a few. When I first started, I had just a hard-hitting horse by the name of Aaron Boy. He was just a claimer, but I had him for a couple years, and I can remember when I claimed him. Rick Mathers, Woodland Run, they do the majority of my vet work. He was like, you don't want to keep this one around too long, and I had him for 2 years, and he helped me get my start. I try not to have too many favorites because they come and go, but the good horses, Pet Rock, double world record holder, Mr. Big, when he retired, he was the richest horse of all time. So the Action Broadway, a Dan Pash Award winner. So those are those three that, obviously they have some special moments with me for sure. My Panmar, I was always a little biased towards him. So there's just so many. I've been so blessed and so fortunate. That's a few, though, that definitely have a special place.
And you're fortunate enough a few years ago to build your own training center, with the Winner's Circle Training Center that is just outside, or just near Scioto Downs. And we've got some footage from USTA and Wendy Ross. So thank you for sending that footage over to us. But what was it like? Take us through the process of deciding to build your own facility, and of course, the ins and outs on how you wanted to set it up.
Yeah, so we acquired. My two partners, Larry Wills and Bud Rector, we acquired 112 acres, probably 10 minutes from Scioto Downs. And just in conversation, we started talking about it because there is no training center around here. There's a lot of fairgrounds. They're getting a little older, and they're half-mile tracks. So we got the land, and we talked to a few contractors. I contacted Dan and Greg Coons, and told them that I wanted a 5/8 mile track that would duplicate Miami Valley, Dayton, and Scioto, and I wanted a half-mile jog track. The land is perfect for it. We've got 20 paddocks. We currently have 6 barns, 300 horses, and we're building a new barn which would take it up to 350 capacity. We have a saltwater spa, 5 blacksmith shops. So it's went over very well.
That's great to hear. There's obviously lots going on, as we can see in that video here. And I know you've talked in the past that you've preferred, peat moss in the stalls over shavings or straw. Is that still the case, or have you changed that around a little bit? And why would you prefer peat moss over other just bedding?
So peat moss, it's 99% biodegradable. There's the contamination factor as far as dust and debris and allergies. I've since had to go away from that. It's just so hard to get. I'm not saying I wouldn't go back to it someday, but currently on sawdust right now, and that's going well. I was on peat moss for so long, and it just I would get it from Canada by truckload, and it just became so hard to get, and I really didn't want to buy it. I liked it in the bags. We would get 760 bags at a time, and it just became able to get. We're on sawdust now. The whole farm's on sawdust, and it's going well. We get good quality sawdust. It never hits the ground. It comes right to us, and we actually have a building for that, so it works out good.
And what was it like for you going from, renting a ton of stalls to having them on your own property? Does it, obviously, anyone who has their own training center, and me being one who's grown up one with my parents, that when the horses are put away and supper's fed, the work doesn't finish there. So how has it been like maintaining the training center?
We've got a great crew. We paid stall rent us out. I still, by the way, still pay stall rent here to the business. I didn't get out of that. My partners wouldn't let me get out of that, but I still pay my stall rent. But we have a great crew. I have a manure guy, a sawdust guy, trash guy. We've got 4 guys that work on the track. Dan Coons or correspondence as far as anything we need, talk to them, and it really flows good. We're very fortunate to have the employees do, and I'm grateful for their effort and what they put in. They take a ton of pressure off of me. Freeze drying the track at night. Some nights they're there 8 until 5 in the morning. It just depends on the weather. We've got a great crew.
And you spoke a little bit about, the other facilities at the fair tracks. There wasn't something that kind of you really loved, and things were getting older. But how much did the growth of the Ohio racing in recent years, did that have a factor into building your own facility as well?
Oh, definitely. Revenue. For what we've put into this and the amount of money that it's cost, there's no way we could do this if the purse the way it is now. That invited us to do that, considering inflation in Ohio and the breeding operation that we have here now. It definitely ignited us to do it. I think we're up to 2,400 foals in Ohio now. They're gonna have to have a place to go. Our side program is second to none now. So all those things, all that definitely played a role in it, and decision to build the training center.
And speaking of the Ohio Sire Stakes program, you've trained 22 Ohio Stakes champions. How gratifying is it to see Ohio racing, come up like that and be such an influence in what you're doing every day?
Yeah, it's just all program that we have here now. We've got the Sire Stakes Buckeye Series. Our fairs are great. Actually, they're subsidized through slot revenue. Some of the fair races will go between $4,000 and $12,000, and the Buckeye Series, that's a nice thing to have if you're not quite Sire Stakes caliber. They go for $17,500 a leg, and the final for $75,000, I believe it is now. We have a consolation now here. We have a final. So there's so much money. In the past, you would see the top horse in Ohio, $120,000 he would make. Now our Sire Stakes, my trotting colt made $340. I know the 3-year-old pacing colt made $360. The 2-year-old of the year made like $340. So there's so much money to be made and to be spread around. you're probably 6, 7 horses make 100,000 plus, and that's a really a good thing for a program that just not one horse is getting the bulk of the money.
And it's great to see an industry take off in Ohio. But let's rewind a little bit back to your younger years, and you grew up very close to a thoroughbred track, Beulah Park in Ohio. And kind of why did you choose standardbreds over thoroughbreds, and kind of how did you just get into the industry or interested into the horses?
So yeah, I grew up probably 5 minutes from Beulah Park, and I would ride my bike over there and watch the horses gallop in the morning and go out. And my dad, after baseball practice, summer or baseball game, he say you want to go to Scioto Downs, and I would be like all for it. I think why I gravitated towards harness racing at a young age was that the horses would race more. I got to see the household names. You would see them race 4 times a month as opposed to once every 5 weeks with the thoroughbreds. And at a young age, I did the math. Let's see, if I claim this horse for 200, he's going to race once every 5 weeks. If it's a thoroughbred, if I get a standardbred, these guys are racing every week. So that made me, as a young business, the first horse I bought when I was 17, it was a standardbred, and so that kind of helped me along the way, that I got to race more often, to earn money more often.
And earlier in your career, we've talked about some kind of horses or claiming horses that you like to have to fit every class. So earlier in your career, you would do that too, just kind of fit every class with the claiming. Is that how you operate today? You mentioned preferably getting there, but you're down on horses a little bit. So is it just kind of the claiming game, waiting for those who fit the classes as more races open up?
Yeah. So it's no secret I love to race. I love to race. But we gave a lot. In answer to your question, we gave a lot of break, a lot of them a rest, and they'll be ready the latter part of April, 1st of May. As far as the claiming game goes, it's extremely aggressive now. You're going to have between 2 and 10 claims on a particular horse, so you're basically the luck of the draw. This week, I think on Saturday night, we'll have 10 in. Last week I had 3. It just depends on if you get those claims. My 2 partners on the Carl Howard and Dana Parham, Bottom Line Racing, they're awesome. We horses out, ton of replays, review them. I check with Dana, check with Carl, and we're usually 99, if not 100% on the same page. We just hope we make a majority of good claims than bad.
Yeah, that's the goal, right?
Yeah, that's the goal. For sure.
So how do you, obviously claiming, people become attached to their horses. How do you kind of work around the kind of hard or hurt feelings that can happen when you claim someone's horse, or have you experienced that?
Yeah, so early on I figured that out, and claiming horses, as many as I claim, and I tell my help too, after the race, if that's how we got the horse, if it gets claimed. So if you get a town, let it go. I'm an animal lover. I love all my horses, but I'm well aware when I put them in the box that they could get claimed, and that's just the nature of the game. So there's no crime. Sure, there's some that you think, I'd like to keep him another week or two, but I understand the game all too well, so I can't complain.
And some tracks don't really offer as many claimers. Do you think that they have an impact on fewer claimers will have on the sport?
That's a good question. I think it depends on the track and the volume of horses that they have. You'll see certain class at tracks, and it won't fill. So I think it basically comes down to geographically, what do you have in that area, and what do your trainers have? Because basically that's what is going to be entered in the box. Here we're fortunate enough we have a 5 to 65, an 80 to 5 to 15 to 20 to 30 claimer. Northfield Park, like 2 hours away, Dave Bianconi, excellent race secretary, but he doesn't have the, he'll write a non-winners last four with a claiming tag on it. They have trouble filling a straight claimer. So, that creates a tougher situation for them as far as the claimers go.
For sure. So let's kind of get into last year a little bit. We have some video here from Jug Week, and Action Uncle was Ohio's horse of the year for 2020. How is he doing? Do you have an update on him?
Yeah, so he's doing very well. We had a great year with him, a great season. He definitely is a special horse. Double world record, 2-year-old world record on a half, and the 3-year-old world record on a half. His last start, which was a prep actually before the Breeders' Crown at Hoosier Park, he ended up had a small fracture, hairline fracture on the coffin bone. So unfortunately, we got him down, and he's feeling good now, resting, and we will campaign him, and probably bring him back into training in December of this year. We're going to give him more than enough time, and then hopefully he'll come back as good, if not better, than he was.
And you have Street Gossip. It was Ohio's 2-year-old of the year last year. How is he developing for his 3-year-old season?
He's doing excellent. He's been in 210 and just very mature, cold, very great attitude. Really looking forward to racing him this year. He'll qualify probably in 30 days. I'll qualify him a couple, 3 times before the first leg of the Sire Stakes. I won't race him. We'll go into that off of qualifiers. But I very happy with the way he's coming back. Very happy.
That's always great to hear that you're happy with kind of the next season, because you never really know when you give them time off and they're growing and developing.
Right.
But it's always great to hear when such a great horse is coming back just as well.
Yeah, the transition, you don't know until you bring him in and they start training. And so far, so good with him. And the majority of my 3-year-olds from last year, or 2-year-olds last year, 3-year-olds this year, are I'm very happy with the way that.
Speaking of the 2-year-olds that turned 3-year-olds, well, how about the 2-year-olds that you have in your barn now? We have about 11 to go through, just some of the ones, just about half of what you actually have in your barn. But the first one we're going to talk about is Lady Cameron. You have a filly, What the Hill, out of Poster Pinup. So can you tell us about how this filly's going?
Yeah, she's just, I've been doing this a long time, 37 years, and I don't want to jinx this, but she's one of the nicest trotting fillies at this stage I've ever sat behind. I told Dick and Joyce McClellan, they own him and raised him. I'll just, after this interview, I'll just kind of be quiet about her from here on out, because she's special. She's been in 34 and change, 35, but it's just the way she does it. Her attitude, she's aggressive in a good way, but just loves to do her work. And I can't say enough about her at this stage. Very happy with her. And her mom was a good horse. She was a very good horse. I think she was second in the Breeders' Crown elimination. So she has a license to be a good horse.
Next up, we have Wendy Ross, a filly. This one's a half-sister to Action Uncle. So any similarities here?
There are so many, between Action Uncle, her, Wendy Ross, and Bougie Girl is her sister. That's a 3-year-old trotting filly this year, where Wendy Ross is a 2-year-old. They're just very feisty and full of themselves, as their mom was. I broke her and raised her. I think she made $1.2 million and won the damn patch, but she was a handful. The mother was Action Broadway as a young horse, as a 2-year-old Action Uncle was. And this filly just talent, has an enormous amount of talent. just got to keep her mind on her manners, uh, she'll be. She just needs to keep her composure, so to speak. And hopefully the Wendy Ross name will come out as a good thing in the end. Should get plenty of interviews, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about let's move on to one of your colts, Spur of the Moment. So this one's my MVP out of Spur and E.
Yeah, I love the my MVPs. I had a really nice filly last year, a 2-year-old filly, Herculesa. She won 4 of 5. And this colt, Spur and E, the dam, she was 2-year-old of the year and year hero. Big, good-looking colt. And very happy with him at this stage. Another one that's been in 235, really handy. So far, so good.
And moving on to Dirty Money, another colt here, Cash Haul out of 7-Eleven. This one you got at the Ohio Select sale for $40,000. So kind of what drew you to this colt?
Street Gossip was a Cash Haul. I had him last year, the 2-year-old trotting colt of the year, and this colt, Bill Donovan and Dick McClellan, Joseph Rocco, and Mary Wills. Bill Donovan's got a great eye, as they all do. And Joseph Rocco, and they picked him out of the Ohio Select sale, and he got a little sick early on coming from the sale, and even I turned him out for 30 days after the sale. But he's no signs of that now. He's doing absolutely awesome. He's another one that's trained in that set with them, and 235, very, very well-mannered colt, likes to do his work. Very happy with him right now.
And how about the $100,000 purchase from the Buckeye yearling sale, Odds on Capitalism?
Yeah, so just another one. I don't want to sound like a broken record here. I love this colt. Great conformation, great body to him, great attitude. Dana Parham purchased him. And he's got the dam has had 2 foals. They've both won in 48. Blazing Britches, that's his sister, and I think Johnny Rock. He was transported, I believe, overseas after he won in 148. So he's got a license to be a really nice colt. Great attitude. He's been in 224 and change right now, 5. Real handy. Couldn't be happy.
Moving on to Odds on Veto Power. This one's a filly from the Buckeye yearling sale for $20,000.
Yeah, Dana picked her out of the sale. She's another Fear the Dragon. And a little on the small side. She had good conformation, so I approved her that way at the sale. And the gavel dropped, and he got her for $20,000, and just killer attitude. I mean, she loves to be on the track, loves to do her work. She's another one that's been in 224, real handy. Those 2 Fear the Dragons, they're out of good mares, but so far the Fear the Dragons, I can't knock them. They like to do their work.
And moving on to a Harrisburg purchase this time for $45,000. Tohara Blue Chip at filly here from Down by the Seaside.
Yeah. So Enviro Stable, Gordon Banks, Mark Hanover, Dana Parham, and Eric Cherry, Let It Ride Stable, purchased her at Timonium Harrisburg sale. And the dam, she's a full sister to Heston Blue Chip and Sunfire Blue Chip. And this filly, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I love her. A little hot in a good way. I just got to keep her calm, keep her composure. But she's another one that just loves to do her work. And if she stays sound, I think we'll see some good things out of her.
I'm moving on to Ginger Island, a filly here, a well-said filly out of Canary Island.
Yeah, Richard Arnold bred and raised her. Does a great job. White Oak Farm out of Tennessee. He breeds for conformation pedigree, and I've got to know Richard very well over last year. And, when I went and looked at her at Walco Farms in Lexington, I just fell in love with her. She's just a gorgeous filly. Yeah, very happy with her. Loves to do her work. It's a nice filly and very well bred.
And how about your next filly here? Lexington Select sale, $52,000 for Cruisin' by the Seaside, another Down by the Seaside.
Yeah, so I trained Cruisin' to the Dance for Carl Howard. A nice filly. She made the final to PA Sire Stakes as a 2-year-old Yankee cruiser. Really good family. Dance and Yankee, Dance and Lou, another Down by the Seaside. Loves to do her work. Great attitude. Larry Wills and Carl Howard purchased her at Lexington, and I couldn't be happier with her at this point.
And how about your Racing Hill filly, Love Me Hill?
Yeah, so that's Tom Hill. He owns Racing Hill. I've got a few Racing Hills for her, and gorgeous looking filly. I love her disposition, love her conformation, and she's another one that's been in 224 and change. Very, very good. I like her a lot.
And the last one on our list here for today is Bowery, a filly Down by the Seaside out of Honky Tonk Woman.
Yeah, so this is a homebred, Eric Cherry and Dana Parham. I actually own a third of her with them, and I'm very happy about that. She's got a few to her. She's a little feisty filly, but once she gets out there and goes the right way of the track, she's all business. And, the first crop sires in Ohio, Down by the Seaside, Fear the Dragon, and What the Hill, the ones I have, I can't say enough about them. I think they're going to take us to the next level in Ohio. We've been knocking on the door a little bit with Pet Rock. He had one section of my big ride, a little biased towards sires. I trained him, and I watch his foals very closely. We've been knocking on the door to get outside of the state and to go on the national scene. But with the pedigree that these have, that they have, it's really second to none. I mean, some of the mares that have been bred to Down by the Seaside and Fear the Dragon, Blazing Britches. I mean, she could have been bred to Captain Treacherous, and nobody's going to turn her down. And the same with Tora Blue Chips Dam, Cruising to the Dance family. So Ohio's never seen pedigree like this combined with the sires, the new crop sires, and so far training, I think they're going to be a hit. So we, you never really know until they go behind the gate and you actually see them qualify and race. But just the look of them and the attitudes of them so far, I'm very impressed, and I'm excited for our state. I really am.
Are you ever hesitant about a first crop sire? You have, like you've mentioned, you have a few here. Is there anything that kind of wavers in the back of your mind, like, the pedigree should be, great. However, it's obviously unestablished.
Yeah, so I'm definitely leery of that at times, but I think certain sires are sire of sires. I think if you look back to the lineage of Jate LaBelle. Jate LaBelle was a great broodmare sire. He was never really a sire of sires, and you can say that about some other sires. I was a little hesitant with Dragon Again. Dragon Again's never been a sire of sires. A great broodmare sire in Some Beach Somewhere obviously is stamped himself as a sire, and his offsprings look like that they're going to be that take that role on too, hopefully Down by the Seaside. So in answer to your question, yeah, I'm a little leery on certain sires, but first crop ones, I'm usually a little leery, but I was a lot more aggressive this year with these, just considering What the Hill, the Muscle Hill line, and Down by the Seaside, Some Beach Somewhere, just rolling the dice, so to speak, and it's paid off. But again, they've been bred to arguably, it's not even arguably, it's factual. This crop of mares that any sires have been given. So, If they don't produce this year, I'm not putting any pressure on those. Well, I am. If those sires don't produce this year, then they're in big trouble. They're in big trouble.
And looking at conformation, you had said about a few of them, size or conformation. What do you really look for when you're at the sales? Maybe pedigree aside, but just the look of the horse when you're watching it, or when you ask for them, either go to the farms and look at them or see them at the sale.
Yeah, so there are certain sires I won't look at. If I just did an interview and, pick up an Ohio Sire Stakes final book, or pick up a Breeders' Crown book, Little Brown Jug, Hamiltonian, and show me the sires in there. And I think anybody that's going to the sales, you're looking for that. We can always buy a horse or claim a horse, but your dream is the home run. That's why you're going to the sale. So if a sire hasn't produced or hasn't been on that level, whether it's Ohio or on the national scene, I really, no disrespect, I'm looking for the home run. And so as far as conformation goes, the body, I'm a big rear end guy looking at horses. Any great horse I've ever had has had a really good rear end on them. And what I mean by mass, wide, I don't like a narrow, that's usually one of the first things I'll go to. I know a lot of people go to the front, you go to the side. I'll go to the rear end, and I really have a look that I look for in the rear end as far as mass. Again, any great horse I had, world record All-American Captor, Pet Rock, Mr. Big, Action Uncle, they all have that look behind, and obviously the conformation. That's I want to see how they stand, and throat capacity, head. There are numerous things, but conformation for sure. You've got to stand correct. Offset on the knees, and there's probably 10 things that I'll go over a checkpoint, and I need almost all of them in order to bid on one for me. And unfortunately, you got to pay for that. So.
Absolutely right. It comes at a price. There's, everyone's kind of, as you said, looking for that home run and looking for that once in a lifetime horse, or trying to just duplicate that. So it's always great when you're able to, or get something out of the sale that you're able to improve on as well, and break and train and really have a good career as a racehorse.
For sure.
So we do have some viewer questions that were sent in earlier. The first one comes from Charles Foster, and he does ask that, so Ohio has the best fair racing in America, and which is your favorite fair and why?
Oh, that's a tough question. There are so many good fairs. Anybody that's ever been to Ohio can attest to that. It's I geographically, I like to race close to me, the home talent, Hilliard, Washington Courthouse. Those are just places I've always raced. The home talent, OCRA. Again, that's a great comment. Our fairs are second to none. And when I go, I try to stay busy and race the horses and not go to the midway and stay away from the dump here. But no, our fairs and the fair tracks, they do a great job here. They're ready. They're prepped, and almost all of them race year round there. So the tracks are maintained and good, and there's really not a fair track that I would fear not to race my horse at. So we have can't say enough about our fair program, and we need that. It's exposure to the community for our horses and for our younger kids. I love to see them out there watching the sport, and we need that. We need the youth. We definitely need youth in our sport for sure.
Absolutely. On both sides of the border too, it's kind of that next generation that floats what's going to happen, and it's
Right.
hard to get some of the younger ones involved. Yeah. So our next question comes from Jay Wolf, and he says here, you've participated in the first ever Next Generation event last year and finished 5th. So did you pay into this year's event? And if so, which of your 2-year-olds kind of do you have pointed in that direction?
Another great question. Yeah, the next generation. Yeah, that was a little sour grapes. I think I had a filly in there that actually could have won. She just got shuffled, a bad trip, and that was for Dana Parham, and she came flying and finished fifth. I remember that race vividly. There's just so much trouble she got into. And answer your question, yes. We'll definitely take another shot at that, and it's really early for that. I really like, as far as the colts go, I really like Dana's colt out of Soggy Britches right now. But it's so early. Ask me that in 3 months and or 2.5 months, and I'll give you a better answer on that. I've got some really nice fillies. I can't really separate them. 5 or 6 of them are spot on right now. So again, it's a little early for me to say that, and but yeah, I'll definitely try to participate in that for sure. It's a great thing for our sport.
And our last question comes from Dave Briggs, and he asks, what race would you most love to win and why?
Little Brown Jug, hands down. That's on my bucket list. I'll try to take a shot at that for life. When you're born and raised in Ohio, and you're geographically as close to Delaware as I am, I've raced more horses at Delaware than anybody. Roger made an announcement this year that I had the most wins there, which I was unaware of that, and that's great. But anybody who knows me knows that I love to race at Delaware, and on a Thursday, if you haven't been to the Little Round Jug, it's something to experience. And if you don't like that, then you don't like our sport. You're not going to like our sport. I mean, the atmosphere there is just it's electric. And I've won eliminations of it. I raced in the Jug. Metropolis won a division in 1996, and got a 2-hole trip and got back through the field behind Life Sign. But I've raced in it, and then I thought I had a few shots a couple times, and I've won a division of the Jugette, and I've won a division of the Jug. But that's definitely on my bucket list to win those two for sure.
Well, fingers crossed it comes sooner than later in your next 20 years
Right.
of planned racing here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But I just want to say thank you for joining us here this evening and kind of talking all about your history and your horses, and of course who you're looking forward to this season. Of course, we couldn't go through all of them due to some time, but we appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate it.
And just as a reminder, on Wednesday with Tony Alagna and Heather Vitale, and then we'll be back Monday, Wednesday, switching through with our schedule there. It is subject to change, but that's our plan for the rest of March. And thank you to Winback Farm of Ontario for sponsoring our show this evening. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe for free at HRU for the harnessracingupdate.com. So thank you for watching, everyone, and we'll be back with Heather on Wednesday.
Winback and outstanding pacers, including Better Than Cheddar, a proven sire of Ontario Sire Stakes Gold winners. 3 rich performers stand their second season in 2021, including O'Brien Award winner Jimmy Freight, Horse of the Year McWicked, and O'Brien Award winner Stag Party. Also standing, Millionaires Art Spink, Better's Delight, and Shadow Play. For more information, it's winbackfarm.com.
Harness Racing Update features the sport's most talented and provocative lineup of writers. Garnet Barnsdale, Dave Briggs, Murray Brown, Frank Ottolo, Ron Gerfine, and Thomas Hedlund, as well as Bill Heller, Bob Hayden, Dean Hoffman, Victoria Howard, Chris Lomon, and David Mattia, and also James Platts, Bob Roberts, Sandra Snyder, Brett Sturman, Jay Wolf, and many more. See what everyone is talking about. Subscribe to HRU today for free at harnessracingupdate.com.